Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. Mykhailo Mudryk deal is still on. It is still progressing. And now we have the details of the bid, and Shakhtar are having a meeting to determine whether it is enough, and they will be giving us response in the next few hours. We're also going to be diving into the Tielemans deal, what is happening around there. We do now believe that Leicester City are looking for replacement, and the deal can be done by Arsenal in January. I'll let you know what's happening with the Danilo deal as well, with a lot of rumors, with a lot of talk saying that Benfica are not the club that have actually sent in a bid to Palmeiras. That club could actually be Arsenal. So we're going to be diving into all that. Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 500 likes. I want to thank you so much yesterday for that massive show up on the channel. It was absolutely magnificent. You can share if you like. And like you can see, I'm putting on my oldest Arsenal jersey, the one I have. And yeah, it's a great day. It's March day. We are going to be doing a couple of videos about the Newcastle game, so make sure you've turned your notifications on. Now let's get into it. Now first and foremost, yesterday Arsenal did go in with a second bid for Mykhailo Mudryk. Now we did not know what is the real amount of money, but what we know is that the money was still below 70 million pounds. Now according to Fabrizio Romano, he has confirmed the package from Arsenal, and he says he understands the package is 62 million pounds from Arsenal. However, the difference is Arsenal have offered more money up front, more than 50 million euros in guaranteed payments as well, and they're hoping that should convince Shakhtar Donetsk. Arsenal do have a feeling that this deal will be done at a significantly lower pace, at a significantly lower price than what Shakhtar are actually publicly quoting. So Romano says it is 62 million. It is significantly less than what they're looking at. They're looking at 100 million euros, and that is 85 million pounds. If you go in with 62, that is something like 23 million less. So I don't know whether Shakhtar are going to accept this bid, but in my prediction yesterday, I said they will accept it. I'm not changing. I'm not actually going back on my words. I still think this is a really sufficient bid, and they should be able to accept it no matter what comes our way. Now, what we also have to know here is that there is going to be a meeting, an internal meeting at Shakhtar. I mean, it's going to be the big boys at Shakhtar sitting down to understand and, kind of reassess their position, and see what Arsenal have actually put on the table and determine whether it is enough or not enough. That meeting should happen today or in the next few days. Of course, the player was called for training back in January. It's going to be on my birthday that he will be going back to training. I don't think he's actually going to go back to in training with Shakhtar. Yes, there've been a couple of stories that he might be in London, he might be already in the UK, and I'm not buying into that bullshit already. I'm not actually reacting to that. I don't think he's in the UK. I don't think he's in London, unless I get a very, very true source. For now, he's not in London, he's in Ukraine, and that is all we know. But there's gonna be a meeting between the officials at Shakhtar to determine, can this bid be enough for Mykhailo Mudryk to walk in January? And if it is enough, then they will be giving us feedback in a very, very short period of time. So if you're praying, continue to pray. The good news here from Fabrizio Romano also says that the players had constant conversations already with Mikel Arteta, trying to understand Mikel Arteta's plan, and he wants to use him, and they've already agreed on the role the player is actually going to be occupying in this Arsenal side. So I think this is something that Mikel Arteta really does a lot of the time. He did it with Martin Odegaard, he did it with Ben White, he did it with William Saliba, he has done it with Aaron Ramsdale, he's done it with Alexander Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus as well. He's a manager that has a very unique kind of project. I don't mean unique like it has never existed before, but I think it's a project that any player would love to be playing at, or would like to be playing for and be a part of right about now. Apart from Napoli, who I think are very, very exciting, Man United as well are quite exciting, but in my opinion, there are only two projects that a player should not be able to turn down right now. That is Arsenal and Napoli. Those are very, very exciting projects at the moment. So Mikel has talked to Mykhailo Mudryk. He has told him about the role he wants him to play. He has told them about his plan, how he's going to use him, and how everything is going to be when he comes in at Arsenal. And that has actually done a bigger job in terms of convincing the player. He now feels Arsenal is the right place to come. I don't know what you think. I don't know what your feelings are about this one. But I think this is a tactic. Again, this is another masterclass from Mikel Arteta. Like, it's quite very, very rare that a manager talks to a player directly and that transfer doesn't happen. We've been asking ourselves, why is the player falling head over heels for Arsenal? Maybe this is the reason. Maybe it's the fact that Mikel has talked to him, made him understand the project, made him understand his role in this project, and seemingly he now understands, when I come in at Arsenal, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what they're expecting me to do, and this is the right place for me to be. So in terms of the Mykhailo Mudryk deal, that is, he has talked to Mikel Arteta about his position. We have sent in £62 million in terms of the package, more money upfront and more money in terms of guaranteed payments. Will that be enough to get the deal over the line? In my opinion, it should be enough, unless otherwise. I've also seen stories that Arsenal are ready to go in with a third bid should the second bid be rejected. Now, that actually makes no sense, because if we have had negotiations with Shakhtar, we have understood what they want, we have understood their position, we now know to what degree can they bend over, right? And all you want to do is kind of bend them over to a limit where they can actually break, okay? Because we're looking for that break point. If Arsenal are bent over until the 100 million break point, then we'll have to pay 100 million euros. If Shakhtar are bent over until the 62 million pound break point, then we will have to pay only 62 million pounds. Now, my honest review of the 62 million pounds, it's fantastic a price. It is absolutely fantastic a price. You look at all these players we've signed down through the years. Ben White for 50. He's kind of worth it though these days, right? He's kind of worth it. Odegaard for 4 million. And our most expensive signing could be what? I think still Ben White. Gabriel Jesus for around 45 and Alexander Zinchenko for around 35. To be honest, I'm going to say this, 62 million is worth of Mykhailo Mudryk. He's one of the really young, explosive talents we have in Europe right now. He's one of those players that have very, very, very limited attributes to their game. And I don't mean limited that he doesn't have much to offer. I mean limited in a way that you're not going to find many players do that. Good in 1v1 situations, very good when it comes to that attacking prowess. A good runner, good dribbler, has had a he's got a very, very strong shot. And I think he will score a couple of goals for Arsenal as well. So 62 million for a player who's just going to get better, for a player who's going to add more value. Yeah, that is real value for money. But will Shakhtar agree to 62 million? Maybe they will want some 10 more million in there. I've got a feeling they might not actually be stubborn, but they might tell Arsenal, okay, give us 10 million and then we will get out of here. Just add 10 million to the table, and then we'll be out of here. Like, I'm not a marketing genius. I'm not a negotiation genius. Today in the morning, I had someone talk to me about some kind of deal with Cossy, and I was struggling to negotiate, and I was struggling to come up with a very, very nice idea. So probably I'm not the best person when it comes to negotiations, but you can bear with me, right? You can really, really bear with me. Now, the next story is about Danilo, a player we've talked about a lot of the time in the recent month. In December, Arsenal preparing a bid, Arsenal doing all this and that. Now, there is a story that has been going around about Danilo, that there is a club in Europe that has sent in a bid for the Brazilian player. Now, Benfica have been really in intensive talks with the players' representatives and also Palmeiras, and it is believed that they're front runners right now for the deal. Now, the story actually that we are interested in here is that Arsenal are the club that made a bid for Danilo. Okay, so we did go in with our first bid. It was rejected. Now, we understand that Arsenal could be the club that have gone in with the second bid to sign Danilo. We have a very good rapport between us and the representatives of the player. We don't have a problem with between us and Palmeiras, and it's a deal that Arsenal are looking to do, according to Fabrizio Romano. It's a deal that Arsenal would love to do. It's a deal that Arsenal would actually love to do in January if it is available. So, are we the club that have made the bid for Danilo? Probably not. Okay, probably not. But there is a possibility that it is Arsenal that actually went in with that bid. And I think with Danilo, we've already talked about Thomas Partey, a deputy for Thomas Partey. It will depend on what Mikel Arteta is prioritizing. Either someone to support Granit Xhaka in his new role, like Yuri Tielemans, or someone to support Thomas Partey, especially given the fact that games are going to be coming in thick and fast. And if Partey picks up an injury, it's going to be very, very bad for us. So I think this is a no-brainer for Arsenal when it comes to Danilo. If you want to get a player for the future, a player for the present, and a player for now, I think that is Danilo. I don't see how Arsenal have any reasons not to sign him. I don't see how Arsenal have any reasons not to put our heads on the line for Danilo. He's young. He's a genius. He's what we're looking for. He's the future. And he's going to be deputizing Thomas Partey very, very well. I think Mikel will be looking at Albert Sambi Lokonga as a player that can deputize Granit Xhaka until the end of the season. And then we'll decide what to do with him. But when it comes to Thomas Partey, Lokonga cannot do that. I looked at Mohamed Elneny in that Brighton game. I don't want to judge him because he hasn't been fit for long. But he actually didn't look very well. And by the way, that is the Brighton side. They did not have a Moises Caicedo in midfield, if anyone noticed. Just throwing it out there. They don't have Moises Caicedo, and the team that do not have Enoch Mwepu anymore. And we struggled against them when we took off Partey and Alexander Zinchenko. So Danilo could be a very good fit, but let's wait and see whether that deal will happen. Now, Newcastle are out of the race to sign Yuri Tielemans because they have made a bid for Boca Juniors player Alan Valera. They want to pay over 20 million euros for Alan Valera in January. They feel the Yuri Tielemans deal could be a little bit complicated. Now, according to Rob Turner, a senior reporter for The Athletic, also covering the Leicester City specifically, he has said that a bid will be incoming for to Leicester City for Yuri Tielemans, but the high chances Leicester will turn any bids down in January. They understand the player is not going to be signing a new deal. They understand the player will be moving on a free in the summer. And they also understand that they will be losing a chance to get some money into their pockets in this January transfer window. But the information I'm having is that they will not be selling, and Newcastle have decided to walk away. They have made a bid for Alan Varela at Boca Juniors. I hope they can actually sign him because Newcastle are kind of not front runners in this deal, but are kind of a very, very big threat. They have a very good project, and we've heard from Yuri Tielemans. He said the project has to be the right one. If I'm going to sign for any club, if I'm going to sign for anyone, the project has to be the right one. Now, Arsenal, is our project the right one? Yes. But Newcastle also have a very, very interesting project that I think Yuri Tielemans can't actually turn down. Now, the other interesting part of the story is that Newcastle have also, Leicester City have also started the search for a replacement for Yuri Tielemans. And Azidan Unahi is one of the players they are looking at. 22 years of age right now. Leicester City are valuing him at around £20 million, and they have already made a bid. Okay, so we're looking at two scenarios. The top rival in this deal, which is Newcastle, is pulling away. They are trying to sign Alan Varela from Boca. And Leicester City, the club that don't want to sell, are actually thinking about selling. They're making a move for Azidan Unahi, 22 years of age, and they're making a £20 million deal. Now, Azidan Unahi is a player that has also been linked with Arsenal, had a very good World Cup. Very, very good World Cup. And let me tell you this. I'm not saying we should sign him over Yuri Tielemans, but I'm saying if Arsenal don't get Tielemans and they turn their heads around to what is happening and they look at Azidan Unahi and we sign him, I will not have a problem, any problems. I will not have any problems. It's the same thing if we miss out on Tielemans and get McAllister, I won't have any problems. It's the same thing if we fail on both of them and go and sign, Housemowa, who's gonna be a free agent in the summer. I won't have a problem. Don't worry, I'm not doing videos about Housemowa unless there is concrete evidence and interest from Arsenal, which is not present at the moment. So I think Leicester, I don't know. It will depend on how well they replace him. But for me, there's so many central midfielders. Arsenal should not overpay for Yuri. There's so many central midfielders. I could go for Tielemans at Atalanta. That boy is a genius. If you've seen him work at the Netherlands, that boy is a genius. So there's so many players and there's so many options we can actually go for. For now, Tielemans is still priority, and there is nothing we can do about that. If Mikel wants a player, he definitely wants him. I'll be doing my predicted lineup and also how to beat Newcastle next. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, you hit the like button, you follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Happy New Year.